What if I told you that a retired millionaire deliberately chose to start over with almost nothing just to prove a point? No team, no connections, no advantages. Just knowledge, patience, and a plan. And what he discovered in that quiet little village changed everything he thought he knew about success. Stay with me, because this story might just change the way you think about building something from scratch. Every single day, millions of people wake up with a dream tucked somewhere deep inside them, a business idea, a product, a vision. But then the doubts creep in. Asterisk, I don't have enough money. I don't have experience. What can I possibly do on my own? Asterisk, here's what most people never realize, according to a study by the Kauffman Foundation. Over 80% of successful entrepreneurs started with limited resources. The difference was never money. It was mindset and method. And nobody understood this better than a man named Mr. Victor. In the business world, Mr. Victor was a name spoken with deep respect. For nearly 3 decades, he built and ran large companies, navigated economic storms, and turned struggling ventures into thriving empires. But as the years passed, he quietly handed over his responsibilities to his sons and retreated to a small, peaceful village far from the city skyline. You'd think a man like that would finally rest. But some fires never go out. Every morning, Victor walked through the village like a curious student, not a retired boss. He watched small entrepreneurs setting up stalls at dawn, selling handmade goods, running tiny operations alongside their farming lives. Something about their hustle reminded him of himself, 30 years younger, hungry, and full of fire. And then one morning, everything clicked into place. At the local market, Victor met a man named Marcus, cheerful, hard-working, and selling the most surprisingly delicious handmade snack Victor had ever tasted. Made from natural ingredients, the flavor was extraordinary, but it came wrapped in a faded plastic packet with no label, no branding, nothing that said, asterisk, this is special. Victor paused and asked Marcus how long he'd been selling it. Marcus smiled and said, asterisk, almost 10 years. Sir, but mostly the same people buy from me. I've never been able to reach bigger markets. That answer hit Victor hard. Here was a genuinely great product, trapped inside invisible walls. No branding strategy, no market research, no growth path. And in that moment, Victor made a quiet decision. He would start a business in this village from nearly zero, on purpose, to prove that knowledge is more powerful than capital. Over the following weeks, Victor studied the village market, the way a scientist studies a lab. He spoke to small business owners, watched buying patterns, and identified one recurring problem. Most entrepreneurs depended heavily on flour for their products, but consistently overpaid for it due to poor supply chains. Research shows that in developing rural markets, supply chain inefficiencies can inflate ingredient costs by up to 40%. Victor saw the gap instantly. He designed a simple solution: locally sourced flour, blended with carefully selected spices, packaged with clean modern branding that celebrated local culture. He started with a tiny production run, deliberately keeping the investment small. The first rejections came fast. But instead of quitting, Victor treated every no like free market research. He adjusted the price, refined the quality, and studied his competitors with the sharp eyes of someone who had seen it all before. Months later, everything fell into place. The product launched properly, and it spread quickly, not because of expensive advertising, but because it genuinely solved a real problem at a fair price. Victor even introduced a simple partnership model where other low-capital entrepreneurs could sell his product and earn alongside him. One man's knowledge created a ripple that lifted an entire community. Mr. Victor's story teaches us something timeless. Success was never reserved for those with the most money. It belongs to those with the right knowledge, the patience to listen, and the courage to begin. If you're sitting on a dream right now, this is your sign. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. If this story inspired you, drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because more stories like this are coming your way.